So today we're going to be talking about observational learning. So we're talking about different learning styles, and yes, in yesterday's class we covered operant learning, but now we're going to be doing observational learning. So first, before we begin, we're going to watch a quick little clip that will basically show you what observational learning is all about.
I'm a rabbit in your headlights, scared of the spotlight. You don't come to visit, I'm stuck in this bed. Thin rug
I don't think so! Did you say it's back then?
she's crying. She cries when she's laughing. February fingers are sucking the sun.
Okay, so thinking about what you saw from that clip, you can see that it looks a lot like it's, let's just say, monkey say, monkey do. So kids do pick up a lot from their environment, not only kids, even adults. We're social creatures and we look up to people who are role models, and sometimes we try to exhibit their behaviors. So, like you see here, observational learning occurs when an observer acquires a new behavior after watching someone else model it. So the person that really came up with this theory was Bandura. And his theory states that individuals, especially children, can learn aggressive responses from observing others, either personally or through the media and environment. So think about all those times that you're being bombarded with those media images, and it's very easy, according to this theory, to pick that stuff up. So Bandura discovered this doing a Bobo doll experiment. What he did was he got children to watch their parents beat up this Bobo doll, which is basically this inflatable doll. So the parents had hammers and tools, and they were just beating up this doll and being really aggressive and mean to it. And then when the children came in, they exhibited the exact same behaviors. So, instead of going up and hugging the doll or inspecting it, they had little tiny hammers there for the kids, and the children also started exhibiting that same aggressive behavior. And this type, observational learning theory, is also called social learning. So it's just basically us learning how to do something after watching somebody else do it. So there are 4 steps to observational learning theory. The first one we have is attention. So let's just use the example of teens and smoking. So attention, our teenager goes outside in the schoolyard pit and notices something in the environment. What our teenager notices is somebody else in grade 12, some really good-looking, cool, popular person smoking. Okay? The next step is retention. So this is where that high school student remembers what they saw. Then we have reproduction. So the moment arises, and this student wants to copy what they saw, so they'll try smoking. And our last step is motivation. Motivation is the part where the environment delivers a consequence that can completely change the probability of if the behavior is going to be emitted again. So if maybe their parents catch them, the principal catches them, or they start coughing and they have a really bad reaction to it, then that's the environment. They probably won't want to do that again. But if they see that they're becoming popular and all the cool kids are coming around them saying, "Oh, you're awesome," or laughing, and they feel accepted now, they might want to continue that behavior even if it's not good for them. So with role models, it's really important to know that people will look up to their role models, but you need to have a certain amount of things that are the same or similar. So you want the person to be similar to you. You want their age to be close to you, and they need to be relevant to you. Okay, if they're really different from you, you won't be motivated to be like them. So this is like you relating to an older teacher. Sometimes you just feel like that teacher completely just doesn't understand you because they're a lot older than you. They have no idea what's going on in your life. They're not even in your age range. How could they possibly know what's going on with you? So that's why you would need somebody a little closer to you. So in the class, things that we could do in a class. So I'm going to talk to you as if you're teachers now. Okay, because when you're going to be teaching your other learning styles, you're going to get to come up in front of the classroom and talk to us about these and how you would use them in the classroom if you were a teacher. So just so I can give you this example, you can get your students to come in and bring some role models. So what students will do at first is they'll bring in pictures of Miley Cyrus and, Mick Jagger and really cool people. But those are cool role models to have, but then you give them a checklist and say, okay, I want you to find a role model in your community that's a phone call away, is within 2 to 5 years your age, and is someone that you could get in contact with, right, when you needed to. And then they're going to start finding leaders and role models in their own community, which is really cool to see. So now, do you remember being in school? I don't know if this has ever happened to you. Obviously, you've been in school. But do you remember getting paired up with people, like buddy systems? So a lot of teachers, what they do is they will buddy up a really, 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 a student that's doing extremely well with a student that's not doing very well. And they sit them beside each other and hope that, the student who's doing not so well will be helped by the student that's doing really well, and that it'll balance out. This, according to the social learning theory, this isn't going to happen because these two students will feel so different from each other. Like that student who's doing poorly will feel like they can't relate to this person that's doing so well, and they could have very different personality types. So you have to keep this stuff in mind when you're a teacher and you're setting up your classroom. So these are classroom considerations, but they're also life considerations for you. You have to know that what you do is so much more important than what you say. So when you say things to your friends, oh, I promise I'm going to be at I promise I'm going to be at your party. I promise I'll finish our group project. I promise that I will do my best to make it. You can promise and say all the things you want, but that will not have as big of an impact as when you actually do those things. So you have to mean what you say and do what you say. Okay? Be a good role model for others, especially if you have younger brothers and sisters. You want to don't just say to them, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Show them, lead through example, because younger brother and sisters, you are usually their role model. So what you can do as an activity is you can get, to show observational learning, you can get students in the class to make up a handshake. So you'll get 2 students to quickly go make up a handshake, and then they're going to come back in the class and practice teaching through observational learning. So they're going to show the rest of the class their handshake, and the class can't go until they're done, and then the class watches them, okay? Then they retain it, so they remember it in their heads. Then they're going to reproduce it, try to reproduce it, and then finally, the pair that made up the handshake will give them feedback and, hopefully encourage them so that they keep doing it right until everybody in the class learns the handshake. And there you go. Motivation, feedback, attention, reward. So that's a great activity. So what you're also going to have to do for when you're teaching the class is you're going to have to show the benefits and cautions of the learning theory. So I'm going to show you the ones for these ones. We have the benefits are you're modeling positive behavior and attentive listening. Okay, you can set really nice examples. It makes you accountable for how you act. And we can have buddy systems, expert teaching, role models, peer mentoring, a lot of great stuff from social learning. And it can let you reinforce good behavior, okay? Cautions. Bullying can go through social learning. So if you are in a teaching position, you would have to make sure that you stepped up and stopped bullying in its tracks, address the problem. You can't let these things slide, because if other kids see somebody bullying and they see that they're getting positive feedback from their classmates, if people are laughing, if people are saying fight, 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 or just like joining in and making fun of people, then that is something that's growing from social learning, because that's a lot of positive reinforcement. So you have to stop bullying right away. Be a good role model. Stand up for somebody that's being bullied. You must do what you say and be consistent. And you have to have the attention of the people that you're teaching, because if you don't have their attention in the first place, social learning cannot happen. So we're going to do a quick summary to finish off our presentation. So remember, we have 4 stages of social learning: attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation with positive or negative reinforcements. The person who came up with this theory was Bandura with his Bobo doll experiment. And remember that when we're putting role models together, it's very important that they have similar age, similarity to each other, possibly even similar personality types, likes, dislikes, and role models need to be relevant to the person who is seeking a role model. And finally, in the classroom, we can have peer mentoring and buddy systems, as long as you keep in mind everything from the role model slide, okay? So thank you so much for listening, and next class we will go into another learning style, and then you'll get to teach the class the others. That's all, folks.